And next one, you can do any operation on files or disk files. Any files we can do by using this one, and we can perform both synchronous and asynchronous operations on files. What is synchronous? What is asynchronous? I guess already we have discussed about this one. Okay, synchronous in the sense it's a line by line execution. That means the system won't wait for the further operation or next thing. But asynchronous in the sense system will wait for the further operation and you can keep it waiting. So you can use or we can implement asynchronous operation by using callbacks or promises or async event. You can use anything. Okay, it is your wish. You can do anything. Okay, okay. Now, before we are going to the file system, you need to learn a little small thing, which is another module called process. Okay, so there is something called a process. So why I am starting with the process? Basically, you need to understand a little bit from the C or C++. Did you ever heard about something called command line arguments? Command line arguments. Did you ever heard about this one? Please speak up. Don't make it a silent. Okay, Divyansh heard about this one. No one heard about this command line arguments.
Command line arguments, generally we used to call in Java, we used to run command line argument.
Okay, so what is the use of command line arguments?
That is user defined, you can pass by using command line.
Okay, so let me explain in this way. So
I think it's CLS.
No.
CMD.
Did you ever heard about this command prompt? Okay, if you go this command prompt, right? In the command prompt, you will have some commands, right? So you will enter some commands. Did you ever work on C or C++ or somewhere? Let's say if you want to create a directory, you will use something like a mkdir, something like a test directory. Okay, test dir. Let's say okay, cd space test directory. Okay, it's a change to directory, making a directory. And if you want to create a file, you will use copy space con space abcd.txt. Let's say now this is my file. Let's say control J is to save the file. Yes, yes. Okay, Sandeep. Yes, I know. Okay, this is the way. So these are nothing but a commands. Okay, basically this is the one line which is called a command line where you are passing some arguments. That way this is called a command line arguments. Okay, so how this will implement? This will implement in the kernel level. It is not on the our code. So while the operating system is prepared, whether it is a Linux operating system or a Windows operating system or Macintosh, whatever the operating systems are there, initially we have something called a CUI. CUI stands for the character user interface or command line user interface. By the time everything work on the command line. Even if you go nowadays, if you see some DevOps people, right, while they are trying to write some code on the Linux, they will just execute some piece of commands. Those are nothing but a command line arguments. Some commands will take some arguments. Those are called the command line arguments. Okay. So first of all, just a minute. Let me open this one. Okay, let me open this one. Okay, so there in Java in Node.js we have something called okay, there is something called REPL. Okay, REPL. Okay, what is REPL means? Read, evaluate, print, loop. Okay, basically read, evaluate, print, loop in the sense you will. Okay, when you go to here after you install the Node.js, there's something called a node command prompt. Instead of normal command prompt, you can have a node command prompt. Okay, we will take one session on this node command prompt. So here you can execute some set of commands. These are called a command line arguments. Okay, so first of all, I want to continue the session with without a REPL for now. But remember this REPL. I will definitely take one session on this one. Okay, yes, we will talk in further sessions. But first of all, understand what is a command line argument. Let's say there is a command you have given to the system, and system understand the command, and it is processed that command. That is nothing but a command line argument. Okay, for example, let me give you a simple example for this one. Okay, let me create one new file. Okay, a file2.js. Okay, this is my file. Okay, here basically we want to just put a one simple console.log. That's it. Console.log. Okay, inside the console.log, we are saying something like a hello world, something like that. Okay, now hello Bali, this is what we are executing. Okay, now if you want to run the program, what you will do, simply you will pass one command called a node in node. Node is a predefined command, and what node server will do while it is executing that one, after this node in node, whatever the commands you are executing, that will take that arguments. Okay, let's say my command is a file2.js. Okay, so what is it means? Now we are telling to the compiler or the node engine that take this file as an argument, and whatever the code inside that one, read each and every line and evaluate that and print that and loop it in the sense, go for a further statement, again read, evaluate, print, and then continue again loop. So this is why these are called a REPL, REPL. Okay, earlier we are not used to write a code here. Let's see, even if you go for a C language or C++ in initial days, right? So initially first they will teach you open a command prompt and create a directory, create a file, rename the file, delete the file, create a subdirectory. These are the things they will explain you, right? So those are nothing but a command line arguments. So first of all, you need to understand what is happening internally back to that while you are giving the command, right? So what node engine will do, first it will read this particular command node. Basically node is a shortcut for that, but the full path is wherever the node.js is installed. In my system it is installed in a C drive, something like a blah blah blah, user slash inside that another directory slash node.exe. That exe file will run, right? That is the full path for this one, this particular command. And this is nothing but a current root path directory. So in my current path is something like this: 17th dot node underscore training. This is my current folder, and inside that file2.js is my file. Okay, now let's say if you run this one, see what is happening. So whatever the code is there, it is executing like this. I'm sorry. Now remember one thing, when we are talking about a process, right? Okay, this is what the process is. Okay, this is what the process is. Inside the process there are something called argv. Okay, see, these values are there, right? Process.argv and arg0. So process.argv of 0 is always the first command, which is nothing but a node wherever the node is executed or installed, right? That exe one. And whatever the argv, that argv is nothing but it is an array of particular values where you pass the commands. Okay, first of all, let's see now. See, whatever the core modules or the predefined modules, you don't need to include those in our file system. I mean, include those in your code base. Directly they will come. I mean, by default they will come. For example, I'm keeping something like this: console.log. Let's say I put something like a process. Okay, process is my predefined node module, so you don't need to put any require command or import or anything. You don't need to do anything. Just put a console.log of process. I'm just commenting out for this line. What will happen if I put a process? Let's see. Okay, now let me run this code and see, this is my process. See how it is taking. These are all the things inside my process, and I can take whatever we want. For example, process dot version. The very first one I'm doing version. So version is nothing but a node version, right? Whatever the node version installed in my machine, I can see it here. Process dot VRSA1, process dot version. Okay. Sorry, I didn't save this one. This is my node version 20.9.0. That is what the node version has. See, process is a predefined one. Whatever you are running, the current code, whatever you are executing, that is nothing but a process. Okay. Now, let's say there is one constant. It is a predefined constant called a argv. Argv means argument values. See, this is a predefined. If you go for a C and C++, you can add any other name, because to the main function you are passing the arguments. Those are nothing but a command line arguments. Here, to the process, whatever the arguments you are passing, everything is recorded inside a argv. Now, I'm not passing any arguments, but by default, it will always take up two arguments. The very first argument is a node execution, wherever the node is installed, that execution path. And the second one is whatever the current file is executing, that system path. I mean to say that current file path. Okay, so how I note this one? So for example, if I run node file.js, now in the command line, this is a command line, right? It's a command prompt. Inside the command prompt or a terminal, what you are doing, you are passing two commands. One is a node, that is nothing but a node installation path, and second one is a file. The file in the sense current current directory path. So that is two I want to display. So that's the reason process.argv. So if I just display this one, right, it is an array. It will return two values. The first value is wherever my node.js exe file is installed. That is the first part, first value, and the second value is my current file path. After that, whatever you are passing, those will be traced inside its array. For example, let me run it in this way. These are the two arguments I'm passing. After that, I'm passing one string, I'm passing one boolean value, I'm passing one undefined value, and I'm passing one let's say string, something like a value. Okay, so these are the arguments. If you observe this one, argv of 0 contains always a node execution path, and argv of 1 is always contains the current file execution path. And from them, from argv of 2, everything, the arguments, whatever we are passing, that arguments will display here. See, this is an array. The first element is nothing but a 1, second element is a boolean value, next one is undefined, next one is a bar. Okay, now you may get the question. So why we are passing values in a normal format? I mean, it's a different format. But what node will take? Whatever the arguments you are passing, everything considered as a string. 1 is also string, true is also string, undefined is a string. Whatever the string you are passing, that is also a string. Are we clear up to here? I hope so. Okay, just read about this process. Process is a very important concept in a Node.js. This is the only thing which will execute your current process. Whatever your current node server is running, right? Everything is depends on this process one. Where argv is a argument or value of arguments. Whatever the arguments you are passing to the node terminal or a node engine, those will display. Okay, that's it. Now, let's say somebody asks you, so you need to find out. For example, somebody passed in this way. Okay, for example, we have 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. Now I want to find all the values or sum of all the arguments or number values which are passed into the file system, or which are passed into the terminal or REPL. So how you can find this one? So basically what you will do, simply you can take something like a var equals to 0. Okay, sorry, var sum equals to 0, something like this. Okay, this is the first variable you will take, and later what you will do, you will just need to write one for loop. Basically this is the for loop you need to do. So for or var or let, you, it is your wish. Okay, I will go with the let, because I don't want to habituate you to go with the var. Instead of that, I habituate to the let. Later something like a idx index equals to, I will calculate from a 2. Why I'm starting from a 2? Because idx of 0, I'm sorry, array of 0th value always contains a node path. Array of argument v of 1 value always contains a file path, current file path. From then, whatever the values you are passing, those will assume that these are the arguments. Okay, so argb of 2, from there we are taking that one. So up to where we need to take, basically process dot argv is an array, right? So now we need to run our loop something like this. idx is less than or equals to or less than arg process dot argv dot length. This is what we will do, right? Okay, so make sure this is a, basically usually people will keep it inside one variable and utilize this variable here. Instead of that, I'm just keeping one bracket here, so that it will consider it as a single variable. And then idx plus plus, oh sorry, idx plus plus. And now inside that one, what I need to do, I need to find the sum of these numbers. Basically the simple loop is, usually you can do something like a sum equals to or sum plus equals to what, process dot argv of idx. This is a very simple thing. Okay, and finally what you can do something like this, like console dot log, and you can write something like sum is equals to, and you can display the sum value here. This is what you will do basically, I mean usually, right? But here this won't work. Why? Because as I mentioned, like a process dot argv is always takes a argument as a strings, So that is the reason you will see 1, 2, 3, 4. If you run the program right, you can see strangely 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is wrong, right? Basically, you should not do like this because sum is treated as it is not as a number. Okay, whenever you are using a concatenation operator here, a string plus a number is always equals to string. So basically, what I will do, I will try to convert that into the number by using a number constructor. Then process.argv of idx, then definitely it will convert this thing into the number and add it to the sum and finally display the values. Save it, run this. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 3 10. So measure 10. How many of you are not understood this program? Please do let me know. Why no one is asking any questions and always calm? Okay, you can go ahead and give a try with this and try to execute these programs in your machines as well, please. Okay, so this is all about a process. It is not only just a ARGB. There are lot of the things are there. You need to just figure it out, and you need to just go and try here. Go to the process and just try what are the other constants we have. Okay, so these are the constants. Process dot. Do you remember we have discussed about something called a process dot next tick? Everything is a process here. So just try to execute all this stuff and just check what it is displaying. Okay, process dot config, process dot connected, process dot current working directory. Currently, in the next couple of minutes we are going to discuss about this one. Execute arguments and execute path and environment, and process dot environment is really a very useful constant which we are using in a real time. Why? Because as I mentioned earlier or in the previous sessions, I already told you we do have something called a different kind of environments, right? QA, dev, UAT, and pre-prod. All these environments are defined by using a process.env only. Okay, so we will go with simple examples with those things. Okay, no worries. Now, as I mentioned already, I told you like today's our session is going with the file system, right? Okay, inside the file system, basically what you will do, you can do any file operations. File operations in the sense, you basically what are the file operations you can do here? Okay, you can do something like a create a file, right, or read file, or rename the file. Okay, and what are the operations we can do? Delete file, or what else? What else? Append to the file. I think these are sufficient. I mean, we can go with this particular operations, and but initially open a file, that is the main thing, and close a file. Okay, this is another thing. What else we can do? That's it, right? Okay, so first we will go with the simple examples like uh, write a program to open a file in a read mode. Read mode in the sense, see, there are different types of modes are there in our file system. We do have a something called a read mode, write mode, append mode. Read mode, sorry sir, once more. What, Divyansh, which one you are asking? I unmute you, you can speak here, man.
Yes, sir.
You're asking something. Which one you want me to
Sir,
repeat?
sir, it's your something.
Right. No, I'm just doing a sum here. If somebody asks you to find the factorial, then you need to write your code. I mean, if somebody asks you to multiply all the arguments, you can do that. Or if somebody asks you to concatenate all the arguments or whatever the arguments you are passing, then you can write a code. So I just give an example like a sum of all the numbers, but you can write. See, let me give you in this example. Did you ever use something like this? Node fact 5. So if you give like this, I'm expecting a 25 as an output. Did you ever try this one? No, right? Basically, fact is nothing but a file name, and 5 is the argument whatever you are passing, and you need to 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Okay, how much? 5 4 is a 20, 20, 23 is a 60, 62 is a 120, 120, right? So 5 factorial 120 you need to display here. That is what you want. Right. So in that cases, what you will do? So you will pass two arguments. The very first argument is a node one. That is a ARGB of 0 always takes the node execution path. So you can forget about that one. So ARGB of 1 is nothing but an operation, whatever you are doing. And the next one is the argument is a value, which operation you want to do. Similarly, for example, if somebody, yeah, now somebody asks you something else. Sum 1 comma 5. So 1 5 5. Now what you need to do, first argument as an operation, next three are the arguments. Whatever the arguments are there, you need to take all the arguments and you need to find out. This is how the implementation will be. I just given us some simple dummy example like how the operation, I mean how the arguments are executed. Okay. Now then our next question is something like this. Somebody asks you to write your code, something like this. Write a program to open a file in a root mode. As I mentioned, we do have a different kind of modes are there. One is a read mode, next one is a write mode, next one is append mode, read write mode, write append mode. There are different kinds of modes. So you can go here in the file system and you can read all those modes. Okay, you can just go here and search for mode of files. Okay, so these are the modes, right? If you go here, you can see the mode is integer value, fs.constants.f underscore. Okay, there are different r underscore. Okay, read, write. Okay, something like that. There are different constants are there. You can just read about those one. But I will just give you a simple example like how you can open the file and how you can read the file and what you can do. So the very first example is open a file in a read mode. Read mode in the sense, remember one thing, there is something called one function called open. There is a function called open. I mean to say like I can call it fs.open. Okay, so there is a file, one function called fs.open. So what fs.open will do, this will open a file, the path you need to specify, and next one is a mode you need to specify. Mode in the sense, either it is a read mode or write mode or whatever it is. And the third parameter must be the callback. Callback in the sense, whenever you see the callback here, definitely remember one thing, this is a asynchronous operation. If it is synchronous, right, for those functions, Node.js people, how they implemented, if it is a synchronous, they will put like a sync sync. Where it is. Okay, just a minute. Give me one second. Okay. See, CHOWN sync, change mode sync, close sync. These are called a synchronous file, synchronous functions. But if you are not find any sync sync, then it is called a asynchronous. The best example here is go for where it is. The very first function is there, right? See, fsync. Okay, fsync is nothing but a synchronous function. But if it is not there, the term sync is not there, that means it is a asynchronous operation. So in the asynchronous operation, basically what you will do, until unless the response will come back, in git bash I had used similar to it. Yes, Divyansh, correct. So in response, I mean to say like while you are using asynchronous operation, the operation will be finished and you will get some response. Till that response comes back, you need to wait for that time. You have to wait your control to stop there. For that reason, we are using a callback. So basically, if you just try to understand the docs, how this will work. See, the first parameter is a path. The path in the sense it can be a string or a buffer or a URL, anything you can pass here. And next one is a flags. Flags in the sense it can be a string or a number. See, the supporting file system flags are there. Default is a R. R stands for the read mode. And next one is a mode. Mode is nothing but a default is 0, readable and writable. The default code is 0 0 6 6. Okay. So if you are a little bit aware of Linux operating system, right? There you will learn this read, write, append. There are some numbers are there, right? That things you can read there. And next one is a callback. Callback is a function where it will give a two parameters, have two parameters. One is a error and next one is empty. And there is a concept called a function. I mean, in Node.js, every callback is called a error first callback. Remember this terminology. This is an interview question. What is error first callback? In a JavaScript, you can write a callback and you can pass any number of parameters. That is fine. But in Node.js, whatever the callback you are writing, always make sure you need to first write the error as a parameter and then the response as a parameter. So every callback in the Node.js will take the first argument as error. That is why these are called error first callbacks. That is the interview question. Definitely, people will ask you what is the error first callback means. Okay. So asynchronous open file. See the POSIX documentation for more details. So as I mentioned, like if there is no SYNC sync, then definitely it is a synchronous operation. So make sure you will do the asynchronous operation. Okay. The callbacks get two arguments. One is error and FD. FD stands for the file descriptor. Okay. File descriptor will tell you whether which kind of mode it is. I mean, it is a whether it is a readable, writable, appendable, deletable, whatever it is, whatever the operation that we use. And remember one thing, this is a very old one, but after this one we have something like a fs.read is there. I mean, enhancements are done. So clearly you can read here function based on fs.open exhibit this behavior as well, like fs.write file and fs.read file. That means that is the reason they clearly mentioned that readable and writable. Okay, you need to just read out first that function and understand what is that, and then only you can implement this one. See, now I'm passing a three parameters. One is a path, and next one is a flag, and next one is a callback. Okay, okay, and I'm just taking one duplicate this one. So here I will go with the process one more time. Why? Because you remember I told one thing like a CWD. CWD stands for the current working directory. Oh, sorry. CWD. CWD stands for the current working directory. Process.cwd will always returns the current working directory. Remember the terminology, current working directory. The process.cwd method returns the current working directory of the Node.js process. Wherever you are running, right, that Node.js process will return. Okay, now let me give you a simple example. Console.log. Okay, now I'm writing something like a process.cwd. CWD stands for the current working directory. You know what is my current directory is? Under D drive 17.node.js train. Yes, node underscore trend. This is what the current working directory is. Now I saved this one and I just try to execute like a node.js file2.js. Now let's see what is happening. See D drive 17.node underscore training. This is what my current working directory is, right? Okay. Now how we will utilize this one, right? Okay. Now what I will do, I will just take one simple test file. Okay. Test data. Let's say test data dot JSON. Okay. So why I am taking a JSON? Okay. Again, I'm telling you, JSON stands for the JavaScript object notation. Whatever the object you want to create or response you want to create, you can make it as a JSON object here. You can make it as a JSON object. See, first of all, I will make it with a simple object, and later point I will change it as a JSON. Okay. First of all, it is a okay. Let me write it in a direct data way. Okay. This is my JSON. Okay. JSON is JavaScript object notation. Here I will take one JSON, something like a name. Okay. Name is something like a Balu. Something like a phone. Phone something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. That's it. Okay. And something like a height. Something like a 3 point, okay, 6 point, right, 5 point, something like this. Okay, whatever. Okay, this is one object, simple object. And wherever you are reading this particular JSON file, right, definitely you can get the entire object from here. See, in a real time, it is not a simple object. It can be a thousands of key properties are there. I mean, key value properties are there. But for example purpose, I'm just creating only the three values. But in a real time, there are a lot of files. Okay. Now, what I will do is similarly, first of all, I will take a simple variable like var file name. Okay, I will just take a file name. This is my variable. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to. Okay, let file name. So process dot current working directory plus what I want something like a test underscore data dot JSON. This is my file, right? This is how we will write a file. But remember one thing, process dot current working directory will take up to node underscore trend. This will give up to here. So we need to put one simple slash here so that it will just give a full path. Now I just trying to display this one like a console.log of just my file name. So what it will happen? Let's see. So this is gives the full file path of particular file name, whatever I want to read. Okay, great. Now what I want to use, as I mentioned, right, in your browser, I already opened like fs.open. Okay, so the same way, I'm just trying to pass three parameters. One is a path. We already know the path. The full path is a file name. Okay. Next one is a read or write or append mode. What mode you want to open? Currently, I want to open a read mode. Even if you are not specified, that will take it as a read mode. And the callback, whatever the callback you want to write, you can write it here. Okay. And remember, this is your first callback you are writing. The same way you are writing most of the callbacks. So, first of all, if you want to open any file, right? This is the file, right? I mean, if you want to perform any file operations, right? Definitely you need to require one particular variable, something called fs. Then fs equals to, you can write something like a require of fs. See, people may think like, why this guy is writing any old traditional way? Basically we can write it in another way. Okay, usually in a real time people used to write it in this way: import fs from fs module. This is how we will write. Okay, usually this is the way we should supposed to write. But why I'm writing like this one? Because we don't have any package.json file in my current root directory. If I try to execute this one, right, definitely it will throw you an error. What is that error? Without a modules, without a modules we cannot, we cannot use the import statement. Because if you want to use any import statement, you should definitely use the modules. If you want to use the modules, you need to have a package.json. Inside the package.json, you should have a type equals to, you need to mention something like a module. Or the second way is, this is my JavaScript file. You can use it, take any HTML file. You know how to include this JavaScript into the HTML, right? You can use a script tag. Inside the script tag, you will give a src equals to that file name, right? Similarly, there is another attribute called a type. Type equals to module. If you use like that, then you can execute that. But currently, we are not executing anything on a browser. So that is the reason I'm not going in this way. I just comment out this one because I just want to let you know this is the easiest, I mean, this is the best way to import the particular modules. Okay, modules are only two things. Remember one thing: for every module, we can do two things: either import, and next one is a export. Import in the sense, see, FS is a predefined node module. We are importing this one. Similarly, let's say we are writing our own module. If you want to export, you can use a keyword something called a export module. That's it. Okay, we will go with the exports also. Don't worry. Very soon we will go with the exports. So first of all, you just use a require and require of fs. So now, if you want to open a file, just open a method simple like a fs.open. And always remember that we need to pass three parameters. The first one is a path. The path is nothing but a file name. So directly I'm passing this one. And second one is a mode. And remember one thing: if you want to mention a mode, always use a double quotes. Don't use a single quotes. Okay. People may ask like, why it's a single quote or double quote? What is the difference? No, it may in a normal environments you may not find the difference, but in a real time, sometimes what happen, right, the linters will be there. The linters will consider this r as a character if you put it in a single quotes. So that is the reason you need to always mention it as a double quotes. You may ask like, even r in a double quotes, it is like a string, right? No, if it is in a double quotes, then only it will treat it as a second argument. And that is, of course, it is a string, but it is a argument for this particular method. And the third one is a callback. Obviously the callback, in the sense, how the callback looks like, right? I mean, in our previous examples, we wrote something like this, right? Okay, this is my callback. And already I told you, every callback in a Node.js is a error first callback. Error first callback in the sense, first you need to pass the error. You need to expect the negative situation first, and then you need to take the positive situation. Okay. And remember, here they are mentioned like ERR and FD. You don't need to pass the same names. Obviously, it is your wish. Okay. That resolve and reject in a promises the same way. So if you want to go with the same note, then you can go with ERR and FD. Otherwise, you can put something like ERR or error, and it is a response. RES is a response. That is fine. It is yours. Whatever the parameters, that is fine. But always the first parameter is error parameter, and second parameter is a file descriptor. That is what you will use. So you need to check a simple condition here. Let's say there is an error, right? So if there is a after if condition, if they are writing only one line of code, then no need of putting that curly braces. Obviously, you are aware of that one. Console.log, something like there is an error in opening a file. Okay, and just put that error, whatever it is, just display that error. Okay, else you don't need to write a else block. Basically, if it is not error, then definitely directly this will execute. Okay, that is the reason. But for your traditional way of learning JavaScript. Just put a else block. Inside the else block, just put a console.log and mention something like a file is opened in read mode successful. That's it. Now save. Now try to run this code and let's see what will happen. Okay. Now I'm doing a data.json, but let's consider it as a data.json is here. But let's say data dot test underscore data underscore one.json. There is no file, obviously, right? Now what we are expecting like it will come to the error and it will throw you this message like there is an error in opening a file and it should display the error. That is what it will happen here. There is error in open a file, no such a file or directory to open this particular file. Okay. Now let's say I will go with a positive note like a test underscore data.json. In that case, what will happen? File is opened in read mode successfully. And always remember that in a live or original production applications, whatever you are writing, whenever you are running or whenever you are writing a code on a file system, definitely make sure keep it on a mind. When you open a file, definitely you have to close the file. So people may ask like, what will happen if you are not closing the file? Nothing will happen. For now, nothing will happen. But if the file is very big, the process is continuously monitoring that one. That is the reason that sometimes we will get a buffer overflow errors are there. Okay. I mean, in a Java, automatically there is a automatic garbage collector will be there, so that will automatically close your files, whatever it is open. But in Node.js, it is not like that. You have to manually close that one. To close any file, make sure you are using some function called fs.close. Fs.close is one of the method. Okay, fs.closing is there. Of course, fs.close is there. So you need to pass a file descriptor and the callback. So once you call the pass that file descriptor, then definitely it will close that file, whatever the file descriptor it was opened, it will close that one. And next one is a callback. I mean to say like you need to check the error callback, right? That one. See, I opened this integer. What is this integer? This is, of course, it is returning to here, but no, it is a obviously it should not return to here. Instead of that, it will show you like what kind of integer. Sometimes it is a 2 or sometimes it is a 3 and all. And remember one thing, here in the callback, we are passing only the error. We are not passing any other arguments, right? So in this case, what will happen? Let's see. First of all, I want to know what is this file descriptor. File descriptor in the sense it will tell you what kind of mode you have opened your file. Okay. So I will just run the code and see. So it is displaying a 3. That means it's in the read mode. 3 stands for the read mode here. That is the reason, because we have opened it in a read mode, right? That is the reason. Let's say if you open it in a write mode, there may be some other number. Just give it a try and just let me know like if you are able to see that one. Okay. Now I'm just removing for this one for now. Okay. Now what I will do, I will just put this else block in a block. Why? Because I want to open this one and close this one. See, this is the positive case, right? When the file is open, the control will comes to the else block and this is what it will display. And after that, what you want to do, you should supposed to close this file. If you want to close the file, then definitely fs dot close is the file. This is the method. Inside this one, what you need to do, you need to pass the file descriptor. Whatever the file descriptor you are getting here, right? The same file descriptor you will pass here. Let's say if you are putting something like a file open, something like this. Okay, so you can put the same value here. Whatever the parameter you use, you can use it. Okay, there is no issue. Okay, but make sure whatever the parameter you are using here, the same parameter you should supposed to use. Next one is a callback. As I mentioned already, callback is nothing but it is in simple format like this. And here in the fs.close method, always the error is the only callback you will pass. Okay, you will check something like this. If sorry, if there is an error, then simply you need to display something like this console.log. Okay, there is an error in closing the file. That's it. You need to display that error. Whatever the error is, you should supposed to display that error as well. Okay, now let me run the code. Okay, file is opened in a root mode successfully. And after that, if there is no error, then definitely what you need to do, you need to just put the console.log and just mention something like a file is closed successfully. See, I don't want to write multiple files or multiple programs in a single program. I just want to show you all the things. That is the reason in a single way, I mean, in a one shot, I'm showing you. So file is opened in the root mode successfully and file is closed successfully. Are we clear? Guys, please speak out. If you are calm, then I don't know whether you are getting the things or not. Yes, sir. Yes, clear. Great. Okay. Give me a minute. Uh, okay. So you can go with the programs for today and just give a try, like in your node, just try to execute and see like how the things are working and all. Okay. Similarly, we will go with a few more few more operations. As I mentioned, there are a lot of operations you can see here. One is opening a file and closing a file. These two are done, and then creating a file and reading the file, renaming the file. Let's go with the read a file. Okay, we will come with the create a file. First of all, let's go with the read file. Read file in the sense, for example, what? Let's say there is a test underscore data.json is there. Okay, this is my file. I want to read the contents of this particular file. So how we can read the file? I will just put up to here. Okay, I just comment out this code, or let me delete that one. Anyways, you guys have that backup, right? Okay, I don't want this one as well, right? Okay, now this is my current working directory, process.current working directory plus a full path of test underscore just data.json. Now there is something called a read file in a node later versions. I mean, it is like after node 14 or 15, we do have something called fs.read. Fs.read is a predefined function. Okay, so let me go to that. Okay. Fs dot read string. Just a minute. Okay. Fs dot read sync is one file. Read sync is one method. Fs dot read sync is another. Fs dot read link sync, read file sync, read so on so on so. So something called, there is something called read file is there. Okay. Let me go with the read file. Okay. Read file synchronous, and only read file is there. That is asynchronous. Guys, I'm not going with the synchronous most of the things cases. I'm just going with the asynchronous only, because in a real time most of the people use asynchronous. That is the reason. Oh, okay. Just a minute. Why? Okay. Okay, fs.read file. Okay, here you need to understand what is a file descriptor is and performance consideration. These are all recently added, but don't worry, you can just go and read out these things. So there are only two parameters you need to pass. One is a path. Okay, whatever the path you want to open, and next one is a callback you need to open. Okay, if I go here, right, it is first showing what is a path. There are a lot of options inside the path. The next one is the callback. So path can be a string or a buffer or URL or integer, file name or a file descriptor. Anything is fine. Okay, next one. So where we are using file descriptor, let's say first of all you opened the file and then try to read the file. In that cases, you will use a file descriptor, or else directly you can use a fs.read file and directly you can give a path and callback. That's it, simple. Okay, so the options can be either object or string. Either encoding default it is a null, and the flags you can mention like a default is a read file, R mode, and the signal about signal also you need to mention. The callback always takes two things. One is error and the next one is a data. So error can be error type of object or aggregation error type of object, but data is always a string or a buffer. Okay, I will show you what
Recording in progress.
console.log. Okay, there there is an error while reading the file. Okay, that's it. You need to show that error as well. So I'll just put a error. Okay, else. Okay, you don't need to put a else block, but still I'm telling you why, because whenever the error occurs, right, so automatically node process will kill that thing. Okay, the process will be killed. So that is the reason you don't need to every time mention like a else block. But if you are habituated to that, basically you are basically from other programming languages, right? Basically C plus plus Java dot .NET, people already have this kind of notation like if else conditions. So that is the reason I'm keeping here. Okay, and then I'm just putting something like a console.log of data. That's it, nothing much. I'm just putting console.log. Okay. Now let's see what will happen if I run this code. Okay. Usually what I'm expecting is I'm just expecting a data. Whatever the data is there, I just want to get the data. The data, how the data will come, whatever the file name is there, from the file name, the entire data. This is my file name and this is my data. I'm just expecting this object should be displayed here. So that is the reason I'm just running this one. See what it is displaying? It is displaying just a buffer. It is just a buffer. It is not actual data. Now you need to do that JSON dot stringify, or you need to convert that buffer dot stringify or something like that. Okay. Instead of that, there is another option. See, if you read about this one, right, there is an encoding option is there. Default it is a null. That is the reason it is showing. But earlier it is different. So what are the encoding options? You are aware of this, right? So we have something called a UTF-8 format. Okay. Whenever you are telling to the fs.read fs.read file, right? Give me 1 second. That's one. ఇక్కడ మన దీని దగ్గర ఓన్లీ బజర్ ఒకటి క్లిప్ ఒకటి అంతే. నేను వస్తున్నాను 10 నిమిషాలు వస్తున్నాను. Yeah, thank you guys. This is outside callback. Yes, the first parameter is a path and the second parameter is option. You need to mention option is a UTF-8 is the format what we are mentioning. So whenever you are converting that, or you are telling to the read file to convert your data into the UTF-8 format, then definitely whatever the data is, that data will be simple alphabet or text format. It will convert it into the text format. Now if I run this one, right, you can see all the entire object whatever is there from our text file. I mean our JSON file. You can read either a text file or JSON file or JavaScript file, anything is fine. Let's say current working directory plus, I just mentioned something like a file2.js. Do you know what this is? This is nothing but the current file. Whatever we are writing the code, right? The same file it is. Okay. I want to read that file and see the contents of the particular file. Yes, it will read. It will show you the entire file or code, whatever you want. Okay. So if you guys are okay, then we will proceed with some more programs. I mean, just like this, it won't take much time. I will take a few minutes of your time. Okay. Okay. Now, when we are going with this operations, right? Open file, close file is done, read file is done. So how we can rename the file or delete the file or append the file, we will see. Okay. So now what we will do? Okay. So now go to your here. Okay. Just check for whether it is a rename is option is there or not. Yes. Fs.rename is there. You need to pass the old path and the new path and the callback. Okay. Old path is nothing but a string. New path is also a string, either a buffer or URL. It can be anything. And the callback will take only the error. Whether if it is error, it will throw that. Otherwise, it won't throw any error. Okay. So now what I will do, I will utilize the same file. I mean to say, like, my file name is basically test underscore data, right? So this is my file name and JSON. This is my file name. Now what I want to do, I want to use a function called a rename is my function. So here I want to pass a few parameters. Let me remove all this stuff. Okay, I don't want this one. So first of all is a current file name. What I want to use, I can use something like a current underscore file name. Okay, I want to take another file name with a new file name. Okay, so new file name is my file name process.cwd and test data is there, right? Test data underscore one is my new file name. Okay, let's see. Now what I need to do, I need to give the current file name. This is the what syntax is, right? Syntax is okay. Syntax is something like this. One is a old file path, new file path, and callback, right? So the same thing I'm doing here, current file path and a new file path and the callback. What the callback we need to do? So this is what my callback. And always remember that as per my documentation, the path, the callback will take only the error parameter. If it is not error, it will don't throw anything. So simply just put error. If there is any error, just mention the console.log. There is an error while renaming the file. Okay, so you need to display that error. So just put the error here. Okay, great. Now, similarly, what you need to do, you need to write else block instead of the don't need to write any else block. Just put a console.log statement here. I mean to select. Just habituate to this one until unless it is really required. Don't use it else. Okay, file rename successfully. That's it. Okay, now what you will do, just try to execute this one. Okay, so basically my first file name is a test underscore data.json. Now you want to convert that into the test data underscore one.json. Whenever I run this file, definitely this file name will change. Just keep an eye here, test underscore data underscore json. Okay, so first of all, I'm running this file. See, if you observe this one, test underscore data underscore one.json file renamed successfully. But next time if you want to try, definitely test.json test underscore data.json is not there. So definitely it will come to the error and it will throw you error like there is an error while renaming the file, and it will show you the error. There is an error while renaming the file. No such a file or a directory here. Okay, so only I strongly suggest you try to understand what is here. I mean, what is the, just read out the documentation and do as much as you can. See, if you talk about only the files, right? If you talk about the only files, right, you cannot I mean finish the session within 3 months or 4 months, definitely. Okay, see, there are these much of functions are there. So I will try to cover as much as I can, but remaining things, at least you just give a try and utilize. Just google it and check it. See, fs.exist is a path and a callback. It is a deprecated method. Okay, so you cannot use this exist and all. You can leave these kind of things, but instead of that, you can check whether the copy file is there. Fs close already we have done. Okay, global pattern is there. So just try to google those and try to get more examples and try to do something more. Okay, so similarly I have something called okay, we have something called stats is there. Okay, something, this is a bit important, you need to learn. fs.stat is there. Okay, this is synchronous. Don't go with the synchronous course. Most of the times we will go with asynchronous only. So that is the reason I will just go with the top. Come on. Oh, sorry, just give me a minute, guys. Okay, fs.stat. Okay, in the fs.stat, what you will do, you will provide the path and the callback. Inside that you can pass any options. The options can be either begin, whether the numeric value is written, like if the value is written like big integer value, then you can mention it as a begin. Otherwise default it is a false. Okay, the callback will take a two parameter, take two arguments. One is a error and the stats. Okay, so the path you need to mention. Okay, so how this will work, basically what fs stats will do, FS stats will gives you a statistics of the particular file. For example, using fs.stat to check for existing of a file before calling fs.open or fs.read file or fs.write file is not recommended. Instead, user code should open, read, or write the file directly and handle the error raised if the file is not available. Okay, so fs dot to check existence of file before calling this one is not really good thing. So first you open the file and just try to do something whether it is existed or not and do that one. Okay, and there are some other methods as well, whether it is a is directory or not, whether it's a file or not. There are some functions also there. You can do that. Okay, first of all, let's see like how it will execute. Okay, so basically what I will do, I just renamed the file, right? I think did I mention here is I rename the file. Oh my god. Write a program to rename the file. Insert table and this one. Okay, copy and paste, and here come to here, format and go here. Okay, just go with the programs and then we will discuss. And okay, next one, the fifth one is a file a pro. Sixth one is write a program to display the stats of the file or directory. You can check for a file or a directory, anything is fine. Okay, so I will just give you a simple example. Okay, so file required is there and the file name is really required, so that is the reason. This is nothing but a path of the file. So let's say test underscore data dot underscore json, right? So I will rename this file name to test underscore data dot json. Okay, now just remove this one, we don't really need this one. And what we need to do, you need to write a fs.stat, and remember, always check for the existence of the particular file before you are doing this one. But fs.stat will won't give you the whether it is opened or closed or not. Okay, so always make sure you need to manually check that whether it is there or not. Okay, so fs.stat is a function. Inside the fs.stat function, what you will do, you need to pass a few parameters. The first one is a path, and the next one is a callback. Forget about the options for now. Okay, first of all, file name is the one, it is nothing but a path, and next one is a callback. The callback is nothing but a, see, it is a one arrow function, and here it will take two arguments. One is error, and the next one is a statistics. Okay, so what is this? Stats, stats. Okay, err and stats. You don't need to use the same variable names. You can use any number, any other variable names as well. There is no issue. But for now, I suggest you to go with the same names, so that while you are learning, you can habituated with things. Okay, so if there is an error, then definitely what you need to do, you just need to show some message, something like this. Okay, error, there is an error for stats of 5. That's it. Okay, and show me that error. What is the error? Is error. Okay, now else what you need to do, you can go with the else block, and come here and just put a console.log, and just put okay, I don't want all these things, I just put a stats. That's it, nothing much. Okay, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, fine, then now see what will happen. These are all the statistics of the particular file. What are the statistics in the sense? These are like whether it is a which dev environment it is, which mode it is, and what is unlink UID, GID. There are a lot of what is the size, and what is when it is birth time, and current time stamp, and what is the last actual last usage time stamp. Everything about the file, it will come here. Okay, so if you want to know the statistics of the particular file, you can just display this one. Okay, and similarly, there is a something called I already told you, right? There is something called ease directory or ease file. Okay, just check that ease file is there or not. Ease file. Okay, stats.ease file. See, the inside the stat we have a lot of functions. Whether is block device, is character device, is directory, is FIFO, is a file, is a socket, is a symbol link. It will all returns a boolean values. You need to check whether it is a file or everything. Okay, so I'm just using something like a stats dot is file. This is the method, right? So I just use is method whether it is a file or not. Okay, so now let me run the code base and see like it is a true. But if I use something like a is directory, okay, then it should supposed to throw an error, right? So I will show you. Okay, it's a false. So for now, for a class purpose, I just show you like what is whether it is a is file or is directory. But other things you need to check out, like whether it is a is symbol link or not. How you will check that? You need to just do a practice on this one. Then you will remember at least few of the functions. These are the what it is called. These are the constant variables. Okay, don't. These are the functions. Basically, you know, right? The difference is symbol. If you see this one, this is a file. I mean function, and if it is rdev or size, okay, these are all nothing but a simple constants. You can directly print like stats.const, that constant, whatever the constant is there, that just read about these things, guys. Like whatever, I mean, I'm not asking you to go for each and every one, but at least few of the things, just give a practice and try to execute the things. Okay, okay, is it a directory? No, but it is a files. Yes, it is a file. Okay, is file two. Okay, okay. I will try to cover most of the modules. It will take a few days, but definitely these are very helpful for you while you are writing a pure Java, pure Node.js code. See, we can directly go with connecting with the databases and pull the data and show it in a Postman. It won't take much time, but I don't want to go in that way. I want to make you understand like what is a module and how the JavaScript is internally running. These are the only predefined modules. If you go with the console, right, we know what is a console.log, right? Instead of console.log, we have a lot of console.info is there, console.error is there, console.dir is there, debug is there. There are a lot of things are there. But yeah, we will see like how many we can cover. Most of the things we will cover based on the requirement. Okay. Uh, Thank you guys for your patience. And if you guys have any questions, please speak out now, or else we can drop off. From tomorrow onwards, we will go up to 8:15. Please plan accordingly. I mean, just a 15 minutes more than the current session. If you have any issues, please speak now. No? Yes, sir. I like this way, slow and steady. Okay. Guys, please speak out. It should be an interactive session. Then only people will understand like what is happening. If you are not, and see, when people will be calm, either they will fear or they will not understand anything, or they know each and everything they already know, right? In that cases, they will be calm. So how should I suppose to think? You guys already know or aware of all these things, or what?